it's on the record that you didn't get along with your father. There was a case of abuse. How difficult, how hard was the abuse?
Physically, it was pretty hard. Emotionally, it was pretty hard. Because all you want to do, and we're raised in a similar area, and as a man, and it's real hard to get across to people, especially in the current society. We were raised in a place and time where you were told that you have to be the biggest, the strongest, the best, you have to be the fastest, you know, and it was real easy to become a failure in the eyes of your father. And especially since he was a coach, you know, and came from a long line of like sawmill workers and rough guys, you know. So if you wanted to play piano, you're not my son, you know, that kind of thing. But the thing about it that I learned that I appreciate now, a lot of what he was trying to say was right.
Such as?
His values and the things that he was trying to instill in me, he didn't know how to do it. He did it in a horrible way. But guys of his time and area, you know, they weren't real communicative people.
True.
So what ended up happening was this frustration. I think he felt like a bigger man than he was. I think he felt trapped in a world that he knew he was better than, but he didn't have the language for it, so it came out in other ways. I loved my father, and people think I'm insane for saying that. But I get him 100%. I have some of his problems. I suffer from anxiety disorder. I think he did too. But we, you know, I had dyslexia, what they call ADD now, anxiety disorder, depression, all those things, which I still struggle with. And he had all of that. And they didn't have groups and support and TV shows about it back then. You were just left on your own. Teachers just thought I was stupid. Well, you take it back a generation further than me, it was really bad. I think that because of that type of environment, and my mother is very supportive and more artistic and a little more gentle with kids, you know. But because of being raised in that environment, I think it drove me to succeed.
Not surprising that you're very perceptive about this. Then I won't say it was something unique to Southern men, because that's not true. But men at the socio-economic level of your father, to use a highfalutin phrase, the one thing you learned is don't show any weakness.
Yes.
Don't show any weakness. You may have your anxieties, you may want to play the piano, but you dare not show weakness.
Right.
Because if you do, you're through, quote unquote.
Yes. There's no question about it.
But that left you with your mother and your grandmother. Here's the question, which, and follow me here, because Horton Foote, playwright now deceased, who happens to be from my same hometown, Wharton, Texas. Sure. He was terrific with dialogue. He had an ear for the way people talk in a certain place. Very similar to your own. I think you'd agree one of your strengths is dialogue. And I asked Horton Foote, you know, where did you get this talent? You have this unerring ear. And he said, it's because I spent so much of my early life around women, around his mother, his grandmother, and his aunt. He said, you know, I'm just sort of hanging on in the kitchen or back on the back porch and listening to them talk. And he thought that that was the key to his genius, and it was his genius. My question is, do you think it's the same with you?
I absolutely do. I was around a lot of women. I was the first male grandchild, and I hung around with my grandmother and her friends while they were snapping beans in their apron and all that stuff. And I listened to the stories, and the men didn't talk as much. They played checkers or dominoes and they would grunt every now and then when they did talk about something, it would be like, you know, a car or something going on in the field or whatever it was. And except for the real characters, there are real characters in town, and I would go find them. But the women would talk pretty openly. My grandmother and my mother were both, you know, real heroes of mine, always real encouraging. And I think having been raised around women was one of the things that finally made me think it was okay to be artistic.